So we are currently experiencing 97% of our business in the first-time homebuyer market is government-backed mortgages. So that's a big role for DSHA in the state of Delaware in terms of trying to support the home ownership, the housing market. We issue bonds and finance first-time homebuyer mortgages. Last year we had about 800 first-time homebuyers come through DSHA's programs. One of the main things that attracts individuals to our programs is that obviously we try to have a very competitive interest rate, but also we offer down payment and settlement assistance. So of those 800 individuals who came through DSHA's first-time homebuyer program, 400 took advantage of our down payment and settlement assistance programs. We just recently launched 2 new programs, again with the effort of trying to support the housing market. One is a little change, so historically we have only served first-time homebuyers, and there were a few exceptions to that, but primarily that meant people who had never owned a home before. The program that we launched earlier this summer is a DSHA program, a 30-year fixed mortgage for people who are buying their second home. So we haven't seen a lot of activity there. We're trying to market that program, and we hope that that's a way for people who are underwater perhaps and are selling a home and going to buy their second home, that they can also benefit from our down payment settlement assistance programs as a home buyer with a second home, and in a way that's helping people to move on from difficult mortgage situations. We also have the ROC program, Rebuilding Our Communities. That program is down payment and settlement assistance for home buyers who are coming through DSHA's program. It's funded through the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, and so it has certain requirements that also responds to the foreclosure crisis, in that the home has to be a formerly foreclosed home or an abandoned property. The home has to be in certain districts, census tracts that were particularly hard hit by the foreclosure crisis. So those are 2 new programs that DSHA has launched recently. So foreclosure, and my job today is to talk about the state's response to the foreclosure crisis. And certainly it's a little bit of an aside from what Jane was talking about, but it takes both, I think, for any of it to work. The state is focused on 3 areas, and Governor Mark Kelly took office outlined a plan for the response to the foreclosure crisis, focusing on sort of the before, during, and after phases of foreclosure. So in the before phase, we try to educate homeowners through marketing. We have done a series of TV ads, billboards, bus placards. What am I missing? We've done some door-to-door outreach even. So that marketing is intended to get people to sort of get over the stigma of foreclosure and go and seek help. What we have to do to make that work is make sure that there is help available for homeowners who take advantage of our message in the marketing campaigns. And so we have also supported homeowners during the foreclosure crisis. That means providing homeownership counseling, mortgage default counseling. It means also connecting individuals to programs. And this is where I think the link to the federal initiative is most clear. If we have housing counselors working with homeowners and there's nothing for them to do, or no programs for them to connect homeowners to, the counseling is not all that effective. So connecting them to federal programs, but also to the state program, primarily the DMAP program, the Delaware Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. And I'm very pleased to see one of our participants here. That means I don't have to read the touching story that I had from another one of our participants. DMAP is intended to help people who, through, as Mr. Clark talked about earlier, who have had medical situations that cause them to be late on their mortgages. And also, recently we have refocused the program to help people who are in employment situations where they can't support their current mortgage and fall behind. So the third phase of the plan is recovery. And primarily we have relied on federal resources for that, the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. We have received a total of $34 million over the last 4 or 5 years through neighborhood stabilization. That program we have run through great partners like Kent County, Sussex County, and the city of Wilmington, city of Dover, and Newcastle County. They're a good partner too. They have employed contractors to go out and they acquired properties, and they have employed contractors to go out and rehab those properties and then sell them. The program focuses on census tracts, as I mentioned earlier, that are particularly hard hit by the foreclosure crisis, and so allows neighborhoods to recover by having some of the homes that Mr. Clark referenced, the ones that need a little rehab before they can move into new hands. So I'd like to give a little bit of a picture, a state picture of what the foreclosure crisis looks like in Delaware. Historically, we've had about 2,000 foreclosure filings per year. That's the best data that we have to measure the foreclosure crisis. That's the part where the foreclosure is filed in court, and so it's an official step in the process that we can monitor. In 2010 and 2011, that number was around 6,000 homeowners had gone through the foreclosure filing process. So obviously a huge increase. What we've seen when we look at the data, of people who are in default, mortgage default, and we do monitor that data as well, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days later in the foreclosure process. And we look at the causes for foreclosure. In 2007, we were talking a lot about people who were in foreclosure were homeowners who had gotten into bad mortgages, who had gotten into subprime mortgages, and they had rate resets or balloon payments that came due very quickly. Over time, what we've seen is that the foreclosure crisis, the cause for foreclosure in Delaware has shifted. I think this is probably true nationally, but we have the data for Delaware, to economic circumstances, that people lose jobs or are underemployed or have to take jobs that don't support their mortgage payment. And so more and more, we're seeing that that's the cause for foreclosures in Delaware. I think that's something that we really need to pay attention to, because it means that the programs that we create have to respond to that shift. And I think DSHA has tried to do that with the DMAP program by having the original program really help those who were suffering because of some medical or family emergency, and now shifting to a decrease in income. But I think that if we keep that in mind, at the end of the day, a foreclosure and assistance for a family in foreclosure is a math problem. But the reason for the math now